Hey, it's me, Big B, and I wanted to wrap up the guide or just the story of the League starter I did last week, the Crackling Totems builds. Got a decent bit of progression I'll show here. Every Watchstone and favored map slot I got on my own. However, we did start to get a little bit of inconsistency near the end, trying to get all these invitations done, and I don't necessarily think it'd be the best Uber Elder, so I'm going to have to buy a carry for that. Overall, it was decent enough. I think 2 Watchstones is the floor of a successful starter build, and it's all right, but it felt kind of a little bit middling, and definitely there's better stuff to do on hiero this league, so I'm not going to invest further into it. Basically, the entire concept was to get all the progression and on a shoestring budget, and I'm very happy with what it led up to. In the future, I might go mines instead for Crackling Lance, maybe traps, but I think mines would actually really lend itself to the playstyle and just the spell itself. If you're specifically looking at Crackling Lance of Disintegration, it is its own sort of unique spell that requires an understanding of how the mechanics work to really make it pop and actually be worth it. I'm gonna mouse over on my gear real quick. I was able to buy 2 of these upgrades. I would say these are about middling upgrades, anywhere between like 20-40 chaos. You could get this for. Heat Shiver is good, a lot of damage. You could probably craft a better rare helm, but that's, again, huge investment that I'm not interested in doing on this character. This was a very nice +1 lightning skill gem amulet with everything I needed, so I anointed it, crafted life, done with it. Here's the Kikagazaru Soul Ring combo, or Soul Mantle combo. What the hell, Soul Ring? Between this and Asylum, you have 90% reduced effective curses. Is that a miscellaneous? I don't know where it is, but if you add it all up, this and this is 90, so when you are spamming your totems, you will get all these curses and they will be affecting you, but it's only 10%. You can shore the rest of that up on I think a corrupted jewel implicit, or you can have it on the flasks as well, but that would be pretty inconsistent, and this build already doesn't feel so consistent, so I probably would go for minimum this, and this is also giving you a lot of chaos res and also my corrupted blood immunity right now. Like I said, I'm not really investing so much into this character. It got me where I wanted to go, and now I'm going to build a mapper and then use the money from that to build something more consistent, probably respecing this character as well. This is like, oh, I don't need this actually anymore. I could have created this to a Stygian Vice now. It's giving me 50 strength. You actually are looking for a little bit of dex and a decent amount of strength as well, too. And these are just some classic, first week boots that you craft life on because it has 30 move speed. And yeah, that's about it. Here's the flask real quick. I do have corrupted blood immunity here, so I can save that. I kind of, once I started to get to the end, I kind of was thinking around, okay, I'm going to get the mapper done soon. Let's get that out of the way. And beyond that, we'll see if I'm probably going to respec this into another hiero, maybe an Archmage sort of setup. Going Brine King and Soul of Aparath, although you definitely could go Soul of Shikari instead with Soul of Arakali for like poison damage shit. Although we do have with the flask up positive 15 chaos or 13 chaos res, which is all right. So you'll notice I don't have the Elder Slayers here. That's because I actually failed a white Elder Slayers, I think, or maybe it was magic, but they weren't like life or damage mods, so it was really disappointing. I'll go over kind of in detail during this map here that I'm going to run tier 16 Jungle Valley with VERITANIA at the end because I need revenge on these guys. The build itself, the idea of like a totem playstyle, or really anything where you're not directly self-casting, is that you kind of have more DPS uptime. However, I found that there's a lot of moving parts. Let's just get right into a map actually so that we can kind of go over it. I'm going to run it with the destructive play and harbinger one that I was kind of leveling with. This was kind of like my progression tree, and then I kind of just turned it into destructive play just to drop a bunch of maps, but that's not really a big money maker past the first week, and this build wasn't really that good at doing it either. I am gonna skip the pack with energy stuff as well because that adds a lot that not everybody is obviously going to be doing, and no scarabs or anything like that. Let's just let's do ambush. Where's ambush? Ambush is expensive. They know what they're doing, and yeah, we're not going to do that. Let's turn the sound on though. I'll go over the skill gems after, just because there's not many. I kind of tried to increase quality of life as much as I could in terms of just how much it'll be playing. I don't know what I mean by that, but how much I'd be playing on the league starter, and how much I wasn't interested in really kind of, I just want to throw down some totems in a map and have them die, and that is kind of what we're having going on here. You do have a rotation that you can do to Well, first off, I'm self-casting a curse of conductivity. It's just very fast. You have a very fast cast speed. You can cover a lot. Oh my goodness. And you also have I have Wave of Conviction on a trap that you can kind of, because once you have 5 totems up, you can get a +1 totem shield to get 6. You summon these totems extremely quickly. It's worth noting, if you just hold on the button, you're summoning them too fast. They won't cast anything. I mean, it's pulling aggro, as you can see here, but you want to let them do their thing. And that's why you kind of throw them down. Look up in the corner here. If you have 5 totems, you're good to go. However, totem placement is very important. So if you see, if I place them on the right side here, oh, the tree was messing me up. That's not reaching stuff. That's not full screen coverage. If I put it here, it's fine. It'll off screen stuff and then get anything on the screen as well. And the aiming's very good. It's kind of was the whole point of Crackling Lance in the first place. But as you can see, I mean, you kind of got to like paint around in certain areas. Yeah, they kind of move. Oh, I said I wasn't going to do Pact with Energy, my bad. Just the one, not a fake build guide. And then, you know, when you get the stronger stuff, you cast your curse and you do the damage is good, but it does feel clunky, and definitely on bosses, because we are scaling a large amount of damage with the chill effect, or rather shock effect from Replica Heat Shiver. So you kind of drop in there, so you kind of just want to run around, just resituated. Totems can also feel weird and sloppy in both mapping and bosses because it pulls aggro, and then like you'll just die from something that was like aiming at your totem. You know, it's not, it can feel inconsistent, whereas, you know, with mines, maybe you have like one golem that you got to worry about, and then that's the one that's like pulling aggro. But beyond that, I mean, it's been pretty solid. I just think that mines might actually be better, just more consistent and, you know, controllable in terms of single target damage, which is really what I wanted this to be. I wanted this to be a bosser, and it is, you know, it's just like a little bit at bossing. It's made up. It's been a decent enough mapper that I'm like okay with it, and I've been able to play with it for over a week, just kind of, you know, getting all the progress and making some money. But, you know, it's been a clunky sort of adventure here that I'm not really interested in pushing any further. But if, you know, if what my level of progress is far beyond what you usually do in a league, this is pretty fun and a pretty interesting sort of playstyle. It is pretty satisfying to just let the totems just fucking zap everything with the laser beams. It's quite good. Not much else to say really. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We do have automation for the arcane cloak. We'll get into, when I go over the tree and the skill links, I'll go over that. Like, definitely feels like it's between, it's kind of got an identity crisis right now. It's not really a mana build, even though I'm hiero. It's really just the fact that you're getting a lot of mana stuff that made me want to go Mind Over Matter and Arcane Cloak. I certainly don't have any defensive layers beyond like mana. Like, that's basically it. Which is okay. You can get away with it on a totem build, but not all the time, and definitely not on these higher, more juicy maps as we're scaling, like map effect, you know, like things like that are definitely becoming an issue. And totems can die. Like, honestly, like they'll just die in these larger invitations as they get more hectic. If you don't have the DPS to kill one of the bosses, you know, things can get very hairy very quickly, and you can have to recast the totems. They don't have a lot of effective DPS uptime and things like that. And unfortunately, because they are totems, you can't really control. The only thing you can do to control who they aim at is place them closest to the thing you want them to aim at, which is basically melee range. But then they'll be in melee range of a lot of strong monsters, and they'll die. So, you know, I'm sure there's other totems builds, and I might look into respecing into one of those. Just following, because I haven't really done totem builds myself. This guy's crit resistant, soul eater, and hasted, and has endurance charges. Look at this guy. So let's do, like, this will be the actual map boss. Let's see if he can kill me. Yes, he absolutely can. So with the, you know, does he even have, yeah, he's got negative resistance and stuff like that. But, you know, tier 16, you roll the wrong combination of stuff, spell resistant, crit resistant, lightning resistant, you will definitely feel that. You will, you know, spend a little bit of time fighting them. And, oh, I almost touched it. Ah, ha, ha, I remembered. All right. Oh, I did touch 2. Can I get rid of it? No. Okay, whatever. Sorry, I lied. Fake build video. I mean, you can go back with energy while you're leveling. A lot of people recommended it, and I thought it was pretty nice. So we are destructive play here. I'm going to put a portal down. My idea behind farming destructive play was like, oh, I'm just going to be, you know, one-shotting all the bosses and drop them all. In reality, it's kind of why I'm only level 92, as I started farming this kind of like late 80s, early 90s. And yeah, you'll see here, so not only is this twinned, I'm kind of going to be like hiding behind trees, and you know, whatever random bosses spawn can have different things that you need to dodge, and Maven's also fucking stuff up for us, so stuff can get out of hand real quick. I mean, I will say it is kind of nice that there's the ability to kind of tag a lot of people for damage, if that makes sense, you know, with larger hitboxes and things like that. And there you go. Now let's go do Redeemer. So it's decent enough as a boss. I mean, you could certainly farm that all day and be well and good. But you just see right here, I mean, like, here's a good example. If she does the spinny winny, she's gonna kill every single one of my totems. Right here, all the totems are gone. I gotta recast them all, which you can do very quickly. You have an incredible amount of cast speed, but you know, it's, you know, there you go. She's one shot some. Gotta run. Totems can block stuff for you if you're really, you know, a crazy gamer like that. Let me go here, I'm gonna drop my traps, and then boom, back to 5 totems. Like I said, be careful not to recast them to the point where they're all gone again, if that makes sense. You know, you gotta let them stand and cast their spells. See, my totems are blocking a large number of those projectiles there. It's pretty cool. And like I say, you can off-screen shit. Like, it's not the worst build in the world. I just do think that scaling it further is going to have a lot of issues. And cost a lot of money. That would probably be better spent elsewhere in terms of, you know, investment versus what's actually going to get done. And there you go. So, again, not like one-shotting anything. Again, these are really... I could do that on the 2 singularities. That's how I got my first 2 watchstones and was farming tier 16 map with the two chaos items and things like that. Beyond that, let's just go over the gems real quick. I don't want this to be like the longest video ever, considering that we're not really pushing it beyond, and there's other people that probably have much better setups than me. Crackling lance, multiple totems, awakened added lightning damage. I got like day 2 for like 30 chaos. Pick up your awakened gems once you're in maps. Huge boost. And yeah, then you can invest into them. You want to have that. Like, that's just a basic tip. Crit damage, and again, awakened lightning pen. This was a little bit more expensive, but again, if your build uses awakened gems, I would highly recommend getting them if you're even playing them for even just a little bit, because the level 1's going to be better than the level 20. And then increased crit, you could probably switch this out for more consistent. This would be the 6th link. There's other links as well you can use. But these were mine because I was crit. There are non-crit versions as well. It'd probably be easier to gear and more consistent. But yeah, that's the main links. And then we have Flame Dash with Culling Strike, Second Wing, and Life Tap as your move skill. Important to note that you can call enemies with the Flame Dash. I think, because it says supports any skill that hits enemies, and your Flame Dash is hitting but not doing any damage. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, because we are Ancestral Bond on the tree, so I don't know if that actually affects it. And then we have cast when damage taken, Sigil of Power, and Frost Shield. You could, you know, put this on Arcanist brand or have your own setup for it. Again, I said I don't want any. I already got, you know, I gotta cast my curse, I gotta do this. That's all I want to do when my totems are out, and just run around and not die. So this was kind of like, you know, since we are using automation with, where is it? Automation, Arcane Surge, and Arcane Cloak here, since we are using that to just kind of, I got tired of bumping it on the other button here. Gives you an Arcane Surge and an Arcane Cloak that's adding lightning damage and is your guard skill. And then Sigil of Power and Frost Shield. Frost Shield's not amazing on this build because we don't have a great amount of energy shield. Just a little buffer sometimes that can save you. And then Sigil of Power somewhere, it's like, okay, you can stand here and get a little bit more damage. And then here is Wave of Conviction with charged traps and trap support. When this is triggered, you will get frenzy charges. You already have 4 and 4 power charges due to Conviction of Power here. So getting the frenzies is nice. It does boost your damage a bit. Conductivity is a self-curse. Precision is, we're actually not using, I was considering using this with arrogance or something, but like we already have a lower effective health pool. I'm already dying in big boss fights. We have Wrath with Eternal Blessing. You could swap this to the other blessing. I forget what it is. I did prefer it this way just because I'm lazy. And this would be better. You can swap this with a defensive aura like Grace or Determination. I also was running Zealotry for crit. I probably should swap back to this, but Wrath adds a lot of flat damage, not to mention it's level 23 because of the plus lightning gems. Pretty cool. And that's about it for the gems. The tree is nothing special. We are still like using like a lot of stuff that's giving us dex here. Kind of weaker nodes like Lightning Walker. I mean, it's okay, it's good for you, but like you could definitely drop like some of this life, some of this regen and things like that for more damage to build out a cluster jewel. I guess I'll go over the cluster jewel I have real quick. Storm Rider is pretty cool. The power charge thing doesn't matter, but increase cold and lightning damage when you are splitting the replica heat shiver damage. Gain 1% of lightning damage, as extra cold damage per 2% shock effect. I should have mentioned to take a look at the shock effects that we're getting. Go back in the video and see, you know, for on the bosses health bars, you can see under them the shock effect. That's to kind of gauge how much. I even up against like map bosses and unique bosses, it's really the pinnacle bosses and like Ubers and stuff that this isn't going to be that effective on. But for general use, for boosting a lot of flat damage, this is awesome. And that will make you want to scale ailments and stuff here and there. Prismatic Heart's just nice to have. And then the totem medium clusters can have a lot of cool stuff like, you know, just totem damage, placement speed, as well as increased totem placement range. So you can really start to off-screen stuff. You know, it's kind of hard to see. I mean, obviously you can't reach beyond where your own screen is going, but, you know, it's pretty... but it's damage and placement speed, and then attack and cast speed if you summoned a totem recently is nice because cast speed is king for Crackling Lance. Hindering nearby enemies when summoned is nice because we lost that once we got singularities, or lost singularities, and another ancestral reach. And we don't have anything really special. I think we do have the self-flagellation right here. So this is just something you run when you have Soul Mantle because it ends up being a bunch of instances of increased damage. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 curses on you. If all your totems are dead, so 18 times 9, I'm not going to do, it's like, what, 180, that's 162. Please leave a like and comment and subscribe for my math. And then you can also, there's like mana stuff here, but like I said, we're not scaling mana, we're not an Archmage build, it's really just boosting my Arcane Cloak and then like your effective hit pool with Mind Over Matter. It's not amazing. It's definitely kind of like just weaker nodes that you just pick because you are this ascendancy that is using mana stuff. And you could definitely go for Arcane Blessing instead. But I feel like Divine Guidance was better because Transfigure, we're taking a little bit advantage of those mana nodes, giving increases and reductions to maximum mana applied to damage. It's not insane, but it is like a little bit also more Mind Over Matter. It just helps your effective health pool. So you kind of just take advantage of it, and you know, this is just a resource that you're using in multiple ways. That scales a lot of these, I think all the small nodes give you, actually not even just mana, it's just mana regeneration rate, but that helps too. I mean, you want to have that, you know, if that is part of your effective health pool, it helps to have it regen fast. Again, the build is just kind of in a middling place that it's not really the best thing ever, but it definitely was good enough to get me the current progress here. It's just the nature of totems is a little bit sloppy in some ways. I wish I had do I have some boss I can do real quick? I mean, I did those bosses and stuff like that. But as someone who's been running, like, for example, like Sanguinate Miner, I think Crouching Tuna has been doing that for this league. Love that build, love Exsanguinate Mines, it's very strong. And then like I've done Blade Trap, and then there's like Ice Trap, Explosive Trap, all sorts of traps. I think totems are kind of like on the bottom of the totem pole, get it? In terms of non-self-cast options we have, especially when there's stuff like Cast on Crit. My last build, last league, was Cast on Crit with Lancing Steel and Crackling Lance, and it was fucking awesome. It basically did exactly the same well, I mean, it was literally the same spell, but it was, you know, not in such a way that the playstyle. Totems have their bonuses, and it definitely is pretty fun. It reminds me of the old school Divine Ire totems, or even the older school Flame Blast totems, but a little bit more immediacy of damage that helps be a better mapper, but it kind of not as great as a bosser as it could be. So I'm going to retire the character here. I will upload it currently if you want to have it as a reference, but Again, I was kind of following, you know, shots to the person who like told me about the, you know, putting it in a mine or a trap, like for Wave of Conviction. I was missing out on this for like a lot of leveling when you can have this running from like the axe, and you probably should. You know, just a lot of little details that can come together and kind of boost your damage, and just the whole way the build comes together in a nice way. But that's about it for this one. We are going to go level a mapper, probably stream a bit this weekend, a bit of that, and then make another build or two. League's all right. I don't think, you know, when we get into the crafting of Necropolis and things like that, it's just reminding me of Harvest, which is not a league that I want to kind of play a lot of. I think there's a lot of other good games that I'm going to be getting into instead. So if you have a build you want to recommend that I should try, especially if it's like a bosser or something, you know, I didn't even mention tier 17 maps because I didn't even try it on this build. Did not want to brick any of the tier 17 maps that I was dropping on this thing. And yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to go in a different direction, but I bid the totem build farewell. It got me some good starting progress. Now I gotta buy a carry for my 4th Watchstone, though, which is kind of disappointing. And maybe I'll try the Uber Elder on stream later today, but I don't know. I liked it. Totems are cool, especially because I got the Eye of Sauron totem shooting red laser beams and stuff. MTX certainly helps, but it's not going to bring a build up to top tier. The league start is done, and now the middle of the league begins, I guess. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions, and take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.